Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 17, entitled Punishment and Reward of Kali, verse number 21. Suta Uvacha Evam Dharme Pravadati Sasamrat Dvijasattamaha Samahitena Manasa Vikheda Paryachashtatam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Suta Goswami said, O best among the Brahmanas, the Emperor Parikshit, thus hearing the personality of religion speak, was fully satisfied, and without mistake or regret, he gave his reply. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The statement of the bull, the personality of religion, was full of philosophy and knowledge. And the king was satisfied, since he could understand that the suffering bull was not an ordinary one. Unless one is perfectly conversant with the law of the Supreme Lord, one cannot speak such things touching philosophical truths. The emperor, being also on an equal level of sagacity, replied to the point without doubts or mistakes. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Buddhir buddhimatam asmi tejas tejasvinamaham. These are Krishna's words from the 7th chapter. Krishna is saying, Buddhir buddhimatam asmi. I am the intelligence of the intelligent. I am the power, I am the prowess of the powerful. Tejas tejasvinamaham. So we can see today's purport. Prabhupada is commenting on the intelligence of Parikshit Maharaj. He's saying, the emperor, being also on an equal level of sagacity, replied to the point. Sagacity refers to wisdom, intelligence, or having great depth, insight. The background of this verse, it is helpful to understand. Maharaj Parikshit is the grandson of Arjuna, of the Pandavas. He is ruling as the emperor, and he is on a tour. He is going to different places in his kingdom to see the well-being of the citizens, to see the well-being of his state. And there he comes across a very distressing sight, a very painful sight, which he had never seen before, and which takes him by great surprise that he saw a helpless, offenseless bull and a cow. They were being beaten with a club by a person who was dressed like a king. He seemed to be belonging to some royalty, but he was conducting himself unworthy of royalty. And he was very shocked to see that in his presence, that such a action was being committed. And so he immediately stops. And although he's the emperor, Emperor does not travel alone. Emperor goes with his generals. Emperor goes with his commander-in-chief. He's got a huge army wherever he goes. But when he saw such a sight, and especially something concerning a cow and a bull being harmed, he immediately stepped forward. He pulled out his sword and challenged. He challenged Kali Purusha. This person was Kali. And he challenged that, how dare in my presence you harm offenseless and innocent cow and bull. And so it is during this time that he poses the question to the bull. And this bull was of a very fair complexion. And this bull was standing only on one leg. The other three legs were missing. And that leg was being beaten by this Kali Purusha. And likewise the cow, she seemed to be very morose. She was shedding tears, like how a cow feels when she loses her calf. She also seemed to be in great distress. So this was very... So he wanted to know, what's wrong? Who has caused you this harm? So he asked the bull. Who asked the bull? Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj asked the bull. So, what is the cause of your suffering? And in response to that, the bull responded by saying, I'm not too sure what is the cause of my suffering. Some people say it is because of destiny. Some people say it is because of the material nature. Some people say it is ordained by the Lord. So, the way he responded, after hearing this response, this is the verse which is talking about Parikshit Maharaj's response. So the moment he heard this kind of a statement coming from the bull could have said, this person is harming me. This Kali Purusha is just next to the bull. And any ordinary person would say that. This person he did not directly say that he is responsible for what I am going through. So the moment he responded in such a philosophical way, Parikshit Maharaj immediately understood. This bull is not an ordinary person. This bull is a demigod who has appeared for a purpose. And then we will see in the coming verses how he responds to, he immediately identifies the personality who has come in the form of the bull. But what is interesting here, and this is something will be very helpful to reflect, is Prabhupada appreciating how the emperor immediately he got the point. The moment he got this kind of response, he understood. And he responded with great conviction. And in the next verse we will see, he will say, you are not an ordinary bull, you are so-and-so person. He identifies the person. He says, you are a personality of religion who has come in the form of a bull. So he was very sharp. So that's why Prabhupada is saying that the emperor, I'm quoting from the purport, the emperor being also on an equal level of sagacity, replied to the point without doubts or mistakes. So this is a characteristic, a trait that we see in the pure devotees of the Lord. They are very, very intelligent. Very intelligent. We can appreciate from many examples of how the devotees have shown their intelligence. I have this book before me. This is the Bhagavad Gita. I was just speaking a while ago to some. He was quite an accomplished person. This was back in London. He is a follower of a world-renowned yoga society. And we were talking about the Bhagavad Gita, and he was sharing his understanding. And he was saying, the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita is that one should follow the path of Raja Yoga parallelly with Bhakti Yoga, and in that way one will attain success in life. And he had his own understanding. And they are referring to the Bhagavad Gita. And this is something very, very commonly that we come across. This person is probably in his mid-50s. He has a flourishing care home business. He's a surgeon. He's a neurosurgeon. Very highly accomplished. But when it comes to understanding Bhagavad Gita and the essence of Bhagavad Gita, very unfortunate, he missed the point. This is very true, and this is where we can count our blessings, our good fortune. To have access to the original, authentic, to the bona fide message, and which is why the title, the Bhagavad Gita is titled as Bhagavad Gita as it is, or in Hindi it is Bhagavad Gita Yatharup. It is it's a great fortune. There are so many people who are trying to understand this message of Bhagavad Gita, but they miss. They don't get the essence, they don't get the real meaning, the real spirit of the Bhagavad Gita. And they have their own concoctions. So we can see people spend a lifetime. This person I met has devoted himself to that yoga society for more than 2 decades, I believe. After 2 decades of going and taking guidance, this is his understanding. And somebody who comes and joins our society, in a few weeks they will understand what is the message. So, people spend years and years and years, but unfortunately, they do not get the message. And if you see, the Bhagavad Gita spoken to Arjuna, and how intelligent he was. This conversation happened in half an hour. In half an hour's time, he understood the essence of Bhagavad Gita, and he prepared himself. His consciousness got transformed. The same Arjuna who was lamenting on his chariot, whose Gandiva had slipped, who was crying, his mouth was dry, and he said, Krishna, I cannot fight this war. And he gave so many reasons. Same Arjuna, in just around half an hour's time, he said, towards the end, he says, Karishye vachanam tava. Stitosmi gata sandehaha. Karishye vachanam tava. Nashtab moha smritir labdhva. Tvat prasadat maya chuta. This is a verse where we can see the transformation in Arjuna's consciousness, where he's saying, Krishna, now all my perplexities, my bewilderment are gone. Stitosmi gata sandehaha. All my doubts are gone. Nashta moha. All that illusion that I was in, that is gone. Nashta moha. It's got destroyed. Smritir labdhva. I have regained my original memory, my original consciousness. Smritir labdhva. Tvat prasadat maya chuta. By your grace I have And so what is the result? Okay, now, so your doubts are all cleared, your illusion is gone. So now what are you going to do? Karishye vachanam tava. Now I shall do whatever you say. He surrendered. Half an hour, heart transformed. And the rest is history. And here, unfortunately, we are in this age where we spend a lifetime, we don't get the essence. This is also the nature of the age that we live in. Prayena alpayusha manda sumanda matayo manda bhagya. This is an age where everybody, without an exception, everybody, manda sumanda matayo manda bhagya upadruta. Our intelligence is very dull. We are unfortunate, we are misguided. Manda sumanda matayo manda bhagya upadruta, always disturbed. So it's not very surprising to find such people. We find this is the time when the devotees are observing Rath Yatra festival. And this reminded me of one of the places that we visit when we go to Jagannath Puri is a place called Sakshi Gopal. How many of you have been there? A lot of you. But this place is very special, and if we can see the just to share the gist of the story is that there were two Brahmanas. One was an elderly Brahmana, and he was accompanied by a young Brahmana. And during this pilgrimage, they were going all the way to Vrindavan from Odisha. So this young Brahmana, he had rendered very wonderful service. He helped him through the journey, as the etiquette is towards somebody who is older. So this elderly Brahmana was very pleased, and so he wanted to give him something in return. So he said, I have a grown-up daughter, and I would like to give her to you in marriage. And this young Brahmana got this elderly Brahmana. He said he had a little concern because he knew that this elderly Brahmana was from a very well-to-do family. And even though he may have a heart to give his daughter, his family members may not agree, and they will have an objection. So he said, no, it's better that, it's fine, I'm more than happy, I'm blessed and fortunate to have an opportunity to serve you. I don't expect anything in return, thank you very much. But that's fine, you may not be able to keep your words as well. So he said, no. I will be firm on my words. And he happened to make a sankalpa before the Gopala deity in Vrindavan, saying that, yes, I shall give my daughter to you. So then later on what happened was, when he went back, when he revealed his mind that he would like to give his daughter, his family members, they objected. His wife, she said, everybody objected. And then, so this, the young Brahmana came to remind the older Brahmana. Because he felt that, see, he made a sankalpa before the deity, and if he doesn't keep his word, it is not good for him. He was not eager and anxious to have the girl. But he was worried that this Brahmana is going to break his vow, and it is not good for him. And so out of concern for him, he comes to this older Brahmana and reminds him. And there at that point in time, the family members, they had all schemed in a way that they asked him that, we will handle the situation if he comes. So the elder son of the older Brahmana, he said, that he accused the younger Brahmana that this person actually gave some intoxicants to my father, and he has some or hook or crook brought him to make some commitment. Simply he's fooling around, don't believe this person. He was an atheist. So he said, no. The younger Brahmana said, no, your father made a sankalpa before Gopala. Before Gopal he made a sankalpa. So this son, he thought he's very smart. He said, if you're saying he has made a sankalpa before Gopal, if Gopal can come here and give witness, then I will agree. He thought, how can a deity come all the way from Vrindavan and give witness? It's not going to happen. So he thought he has won. So this younger Brahmana, and we can see, he goes back, he goes to Vrindavan and goes before Gopal and he says, this has happened, you should come. So then Gopal responds to him. And we can understand if Gopal is talking to this younger Brahmana, that means he's not an ordinary person, he's a pure devotee who is having a conversation with Krishna. And he said, no, how can I come? I'm a deity. How can I come out of this temple and walk all the way there? And this devotee, very lovingly, he said, if a deity can walk, if a deity can talk, he can walk also. Very intelligent. So Gopal didn't have anything to say. He said, okay. Then he said, on one condition, I'll come behind you, but you should never turn around and see whether I'm there or not. You can understand I'm coming by the tinkling of my ankles. And every day you offer me about 1 kilo of rice as a bhog. So anyway, that story goes on to say, and they finally reached the place, and everybody is shocked that the deity has come all the way to give Sakshi. That's why he came to be known as Sakshi Gopal. So we can see how this Brahmana spoke very intelligently. He said, if you can talk, you can walk also. And the Lord couldn't say anything. And likewise, we can appreciate this, how devotees are very intelligent. Srila Prabhupada was giving a class in 26 Second Avenue in New York. So after the class, so they were asking questions. Then one person, he said, what about LSD? It gives spiritual visions. So he wanted an affirmation, a consent from Prabhupada to say, yes, it's very good, or some kind of endorsement from Prabhupada. And also it was kind of and this is recollected by one of his disciples, Umapati Swami, he recollects this. It is also a kind of a trap. Because the Prabhupada said that I have not taken it. I have not, because he's asking, how about LSD? LSD is a hallucinogenic drug which was in vogue during the 60s all over the world, especially America. So if Prabhupada said, I don't know, or I have not taken, then how can you give an opinion? You are not taken, no? There may be some truth in LSD, maybe better than your Hare Krishna mantra. So he thought like that. Or if Prabhupada says, I have taken and it is not good, then it's like saying, you have taken, it is an intoxication. You are saying no intoxication and you have taken it. So it was kind of a trap. Prabhupada says yes, so Prabhupada says no, he wanted to say that. So Prabhupada said, I have not taken, but my disciples who have taken it have given it up. So Umapati Swami, he recalls that Prabhupada, he handled the situation so expertly. And that person couldn't say anything. He had to accept. Another time, this is another disciple, Gurudas Prabhu, he recalls. So somebody said to Prabhupada, "Oh Prabhupada, you look so good today." And Prabhupada said, "Only today?" So he says, Prabhupada had a fast wit. Only today? Every day I look good. This was in Berkeley in US. And this was around the time of Rath Yatra. So during that time, the devotees were all sitting with Prabhupada, having darshan of Prabhupada. So there was one devotee, and this is being recalled by Rukmini Mataji. She's a painter. Many of famous ISKCON paintings were done by her. So her husband, Varadaraj Prabhu, he was there in that room. He pulled out one book from the shelf. He pulled out a Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. And then he said, he was flipping the pages, and Prabhupada is sitting, all the devotees around him, and Varadaraj Prabhu, he speaks. He says, "Lord Chaitanya has got very long hair." Why is it Prabhupada, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has got long hair? So then Prabhupada, because Prabhupada would insist everybody should cut their hair. And they were all coming with long hair. So probably this was some way of saying that, see, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had long hair, so why not we have a long hair? So then Prabhupada said, yes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a hippie. He was a hippie. He had long hair. And he has come to save you. And he has come to save you. So when he said save you, because Prabhupada had a Bengali accent, so sir was sounding like sure. They were not very sure what he was saying. So then Prabhupada, he immediately picked on that. Yes. Then he said, yes, he has come to save you and shave you. Because when you join the movement when you join the temple in the Hare Krishna movement, everybody shaves up. They shave their head. The men devotees. So Prabhupada was very quick, and he caught this slight confusion. Was they said, yes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to save you and shave you. Other time, there was this was shared by Vishaka Mataji. She's one of the she was a photographer. She and her husband, Yadubara Prabhu and Vishaka Mataji. She's currently the temple president in Bhaktivedanta Manor, London. So she shares this memory of Prabhupada, and we can see how Prabhupada was very expert and very sharp in dealing with. So it was a very memorable time for Vishaka Mataji because she was in Vrindavan. This was in November of 1971, and she was with Prabhupada. And Prabhupada was personally taking his disciples on a tour in Vrindavan. So they were visiting Govardhan. Prabhupada took a bath with all the disciples in the Yamuna. And Prabhupada circumambulated Radha Kund, and he would talk about Krishna's pastimes. This is where Krishna jumped into the Kaliya, this is Kaliya Ghat, and this and that. So Prabhupada was taking them on a tour. So they were feeling very, very special. Their beloved spiritual master is taking them on a tour. And also that was the time when she was going to get initiated. She was going to get married, and she was going to get initiated. So the date was fixed. It was maybe the 11th or something. So that day, it was supposed to happen on the same day. Her marriage first, and then her initiation. So at that time, there was one more couple in Vrindavan. They had also approached Prabhupada saying that they would like to get married. But it was a very awkward proposal. Because the background was that this husband to be, the groom, he was already married. He was married to a devotee girl, and somehow they had separated. And now he was going to get married to this girl. This is a devotee girl. And she was already pregnant even before the marriage. And he's coming to Prabhupada and requesting that they would like to get married. So it is very, how can Prabhupada endorse this? At the same time, how can Prabhupada say no? Because no matter how fallen somebody is, but if they're showing some sincerity in following a regulated life, a sadhu will encourage, regardless of what position somebody is. But at the same time, if he is going to endorse this marriage, it doesn't speak well of him. So it was very awkward. So what Prabhupada did was, and Vishaka Mataji, she appreciates, and she thought this was done so, this awkward situation was so wonderfully handled by Prabhupada. So he said, so Prabhupada got one of his disciples, Guru Das Prabhu, to do the yajna. So this couple, they sat down, all the rites were done, all their marriage rituals were done. And so that was complete. And then after that, he moved on and started one more fire sacrifice for performing the marriage of Vishaka Mataji and Yaduvara Prabhu. And in that yajna, Prabhupada came and sat and joined. And he conducted the yajna. So, in a sense, although by Prabhupada not being present personally in the yajna that was being performed for this couple's marriage, he stood by his principles. And at the same time, by getting his disciple to perform the yajna for them, he facilitated their marriage. And so looking at this, all the disciples were all in deep appreciation of how Prabhupada conducted himself. So like this, we can see in the lives of in the life of Prabhupada and of devotees, how they are very intelligent in how they conduct themselves. Of course, this is for taking up this path of Krishna consciousness. One doesn't have to be, it's not a prerequisite qualification that you have to be of an IQ more than 160. Only then you can be a part of the Hare Krishna movement. No. Prabhupada never had any... Prabhupada welcomed everybody. He started the movement in Bowery, in Lower Eastern New York. And everybody is welcome to be a part of this. All that is required, whether you are intelligent, not intelligent, all that is required is a willingness to surrender. A willingness to surrender to the Supreme Lord, a willingness to serve the spiritual master. That's all is required. And then as we engage in following the teachings of the spiritual master, very sincerely, intelligence is revealed. This is what Krishna is saying. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti mam. Krishna is saying, for those who engage very sincerely in my service, I shall give them the intelligence by which they can come to me. Of course, if somebody is having material intelligence in the service of Krishna, it is very helpful. They can do wonderful service. But that's not a prerequisite qualification. One can be very intelligent, at the same time one may not be willing to surrender. And that's why such people are called as dushkritina. Namam dushkritino mudha prapadyante naradhama maya apahritta jnanam. The last line. Asuram bhavamashita. So somebody can be very intelligent, but their actions will be completely demoniac. That's why Krishna is saying, such people will never surrender to me. They have kritinaha. Kritinaha means they are very meritorious. But what is their merit being utilized for? Dushkritina. They are being utilized for all demonic activities. So that's why it's a double-edged sword. That's not just because somebody is materially intelligent, it does not mean anything in Krishna consciousness. But how they're utilizing their intelligence. It's a double-edged sword means if it is used nicely, it can serve great purpose. One can render a wonderful service. But if one is not careful, it will cut you. One can get carried away. One can become arrogant. One can become proud. Oh, I am very smart. So all that is there. So we have to be careful. But this is the these are the words of Lord Krishna. Anybody, regardless of what their background is, regardless whatever intelligence is, whatever material intelligence is, when we are sincerely trying to serve the spiritual master, his instructions, his mission, then all intelligence comes. Because finally, Krishna is the reservoir of all intelligence. He is the Surya of Satchidananda. He is the Surya. All intelligence, all opulences are unlimited in him. So therefore, for somebody who is taking shelter of him, they have access to all of that. By the blessings of Guru and Krishna, they have access to all of that. So we simply have to try to become sincere in our devotional journey. Sincere in following the teachings of Guru and those who are representing the spiritual master and the mission, our authorities. That is the secret of all success. That's the secret. That is real intelligence. The test of one's intelligence is, if you are very intelligent, that means you will be able to solve problems very nicely. You are very intelligent, but you cannot solve the problem of Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. Then what is the use of your intelligence? That can be solved only when one is a devotee of Krishna. So a devotee of the Lord is the most intelligent person. So that opportunity is there for everybody, provided we want to become a devotee. So those are some points to reflect, and there are many other things we can discuss in another class. We'll stop here. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Tagore Premanande Hari.